how about we move this a tiny bit? I feel like, a tiny bit. Yeah, I think this looks a bit better. And after that, now that we have this, we need to add color. So the reason, in general, the reason why I was creating all this Voronoi texture in the color ramp was because I want to create the layout of where our colors will be and where the holes will be. So this is kind of like our masking image where we're gonna place color over it. So what we want to do is create another color ramp, or you can actually just duplicate the color ramp we have here by doing Shift D if you want. But instead I just actually searched it up. Gonna select all of this, click G to move this color ramp, and we're gonna put all this masking data, all of its color, to this color ramp, and we're gonna attach it to the mission, because the mission is like where we're gonna create the color, and basically we're adding the color on this masking image. So now that we actually change this black image, we can make it red, and as you can see, we can change the color here, yellow. As you can see, towards the white area, which is more like in the center, it's all yellow, just according like this. But as you can see from the sides, it's more like red, because it's all this black area. So you make it closer, it's actually making the red color closer to the center. So what I'm gonna do is actually add some more colors, because I do wanna like make this a bit, maybe a bit orange. I don't wanna put it too close though. I'm gonna move this red up far. I don't think there's like a lot of red and fire. It's mostly like a lot of yellow and orange. And I want to add some like really bright colors. So I'm gonna add yellow here. I'm gonna move this a bit. And there should be a tiny bit of white, but not too bright. So as you can see, it's not really that clear. But there we go. Now that we have this, we can actually, let's go back here to this fully render mode. And we're gonna actually make the world not really transparent, but we're gonna make this completely black, which will be very useful because what we're gonna do is render all of these frames, and we're gonna be getting rid of the black color using Photoshop or Photopea or whatever software you want to use. So right here, we're gonna make this black. We're actually gonna move this A value all the way down, because actually if you, let's say you do not want to remove the black color, you're too lazy to do it. If you actually move this all the way down, and basically saying that black color is kind of like transparent. So when you turn on the emission in Roblox Studio to all the way to 1, I think it's called like, yeah, I'm not really too sure what's the name of it in the particle emitter, but if you make it 1, it basically makes all the black color invisible. But there is a bit of glitch because there is a bit of tiny bit of like static in the background. I'm not too sure how to fix it, but I can kind of show you guys it later. But after that, I'm gonna make this emission a bit greater. I kind of want to bring in more saturation into the color. And I think this looks good, but we're not done yet. Because the biggest problem here is that, like, you see the colors here is like very hard, but there's not like kind of like a fade in or fade out. So that's why we need another shader, which will be a gradient, because it's perfect. Because now we have a transition between black and white. So we're actually gonna add another mask, which will be used, which will kind of be like on top. So basically, it's kind of gonna be like the main mask. And we're gonna be placing the Voronoi texture over it. And so yeah, so we're gonna move this here. We're actually gonna Shift D on the mix shader because we don't have any room here, and we need to add the gradient texture. So we're gonna put it FAC because this is like gonna be our main mask. Actually, I'm gonna put a color ramp. Maybe you want to manipulate the gradient texture, how much black we want, stuff like that. And we're gonna move this shader over here, and we're gonna attach it right here. So now we have this. You can see there's a bit of gradient here. We're actually gonna go back to this mode, and as you can see, there's black, and you can see it's transparent here. But as you can see, there needs to be transparency here. That's why we need to duplicate this transparent BSDF. Because although there's transparency here, which is gradient transparency here, there's no transparency to this mix shader to make the black part from this gradient texture transparent. So that's why there's this all black stuff. So we're gonna attach it here, and voila, it's all gone. So now that we created this, I do wanna manipulate the position of the gradient texture, because I like it how it's right here, but it's not here. So you can you do many things. You can actually change the scale. You see, it kind of like makes this all kind of disappear. I'm not gonna do that because that's not what I'm gonna do. Maybe. Yeah, I think this looks good. I'm actually gonna add another color here. Let's see. If I add a black color, I believe, let's try like adding a black color here. Apparently it's not really working, but maybe we can bring this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so apparently the white color is actually making this transparent. Technically it's supposed to be black, but as you can see here, we have our transparent BSDF, and it's basically turning this white into transparency. I believe we actually changed this. Oh, it doesn't really change anything. But even so, we're just gonna add this white color because it's actually making this transparent, which is what we want. We're actually gonna move this tiny bit closer here. I do not want this all like too transparent, so just a tiny bit fade. I feel like this is actually a bit too... it's a bit too strong. Yeah, maybe like move this black color a bit closer. We can also like add another color, make it tiny, like more grayish. So we can add better transition. Actually, it's not that great, honestly. Maybe make this a bit darker. And honestly, this looks pretty decent. It's not the best, but you know, it's whatever we can do. So now that we created our kind of like slash effect, we need to basically animate this because we want to make this disappear, because when you slash, all this fiery particles or whatever disappears. So what we're gonna do here is go to layout. You're gonna change the start and to 1 to 16 because we're gonna take 16 images and change the sprite sheet. Color is actually making this transparent. Okay, this is technically supposed to be. I just realized flash you. We're just gonna add this white color because it's actually making this transparent. We're actually gonna get rid of this gray. We're actually gonna move this tiny bit closer here. I do not want this thing all the way to 16. Go back to shading. Move this black pretty close here. We don't need to do all the way, honestly, because slash effect is usually really fast. And insert keyframe here. So now, if you click space, wow, it creates this kind of fade out effect, which is pretty cool. So we're actually going to go back to our keyframe 1 here. Go back to shading tab. And the next thing we need to do is probably want to actually make this kind of disappear. So what we're going to do is click this black thing. It's not going to work. So actually, the thing is, like, it's really hard to manipulate this with all these colors. So I think the best way is just do another color ramp. Except we're gonna like delete all this. And we're gonna add a color. Probably gonna be black. Yeah, honestly, no, never mind. I'm gonna be cutting this out of the video. So now that we created this, made by OG RCXC. Now it's just a disappearing effect, but I kind of want to move the fire particles.
Or like Unreal game.